Good morning, traders. Welcome back for another live streaming session with me, your Academy Director at AIFO. I'm currently on the Euro US dollar because I've been in this trade for the last couple of days. In fact, I entered a couple of shorting opportunities throughout this week, and they played out very nicely. And so this morning, I jumped into a long position. I'm really hoping that the price jumps up to around roughly this high here. So long as it'll be fantastic if I can TP on that. Gosh, it was very close though. Almost got stopped out earlier today. So what I've actually done is, because we're in such good profit, I've actually brought my stop loss to break even now anyway. So even when the London session does begin in about 4 minutes, then it should be okay, even if it reverses. It'd be kind of upsetting, but that's what trading is all about. So at the moment, yeah, we are seeing a potential reversal occurring on the euro dollar. We have seen the price had come down quite aggressively several times and was, in essence, in a downtrend until we then entered into this large green box here, which is our weekly demand zone. And we are seeing quite a substantial reaction within this zone, indicating that the trend may now be reversing back into the upside on the higher time frames. So we are looking for those long opportunities. This is further supported by, on the 4-hour frame, we're just producing all of these high lows at the moment. So we can see high, low, high, low, high, low, and higher, higher, higher highs, creating this ascending wedge. So I'm expecting price to continue moving into the upside. We might see a dramatic pullback down, maybe at some point, perhaps when it re-hits this 200 EMA. But overall, I'm hoping that this weekly demand zone will tell us exactly where the price is going to go and continue going, which should be in the upside. GBP USD will be following a very similar situation to the euro dollar, although we have seen much more sharper moves in the market. It has been playing very nicely into our technicals, where it pushed up, it broke market structure, it now came down, re-entered this area of demand, so this temporary area of demand, and is now pushing itself back into the upside. So again, we're looking for those long opportunities. We did see an initial reaction to when it entered this potential supply zone, which we saw here, which pushed down, but it failed to break this previous low. So I think it may continue pushing into the upside. So what we'll do later on is look on the lower time frames and take a look at some potential entry points here for GBP USD. DXY is, of course, on its way down. We are seeing quite a bit of resistance here at the moment. We saw that the price came up, came down. There was a huge market structure shift here, telling us that the price is going to continue into the downside, which it had done. It came up again. It grabbed whatever liquidity was resting above here, and the sellers clearly won that fight, pushing the price down, breaking market structure here. We are now just seeing this slow retracement back up to this potential area here, where we hopefully that's the point. It's not going to continue going any higher now, hopefully, but if it does, we may enter into this box here, where we would then see a dramatic push into the downside. So that's what I'll be waiting for on the DXY, but hopefully we're going to see that continuation into the downside. If we see a really nice market structure break here with a full body break, then I'll likely wait for a bit of a pullback and then enter into a short position targeting this previous demand zone down here. Okay, so that's what I would play. That's what I'm looking at with the DXY. That's how I want to play the DXY throughout today. Oh, the London session just started. Let's take a look at our trade here. Hopefully it's not going to be so dramatic in terms of the a potential reversal. Hopefully it doesn't reverse so aggressively. So dropping down a little bit more to the 15-minute frame. Yeah, gosh, come on. Hopefully it TPs. Like I said already, I brought my stop to break even. But I'll keep it here just in case, so that we can actually see that if I do get stopped out, where my original stop was. And I like to do that. I like to analyze, what if I didn't bring my stop to break even. So we got a nice push. What I'm expecting on these lower frames is because we got some nice breaks of structure here. What we might expect to happen is price come back down here before then going up. Okay, so I kind of expect that to happen as well. Um, oh, it's quite an aggressive push into the downside though. The reason I'm just a little afraid because on the hour frame, we can see that when price was originally here, it pushed down quite aggressively and it has now re-entered into that area. And quite a lot of individuals may look at that and think, okay, this is the shorting opportunity I've been waiting for. Because if we look on the hourly frame, we are producing lower highs and lower lows. So yeah, you really should be looking for those shorting opportunities. What I was expecting to happen was I would come up, I would TP, and then I would actually enter into a shorting position and just targeting something down here, right, before we see the next reversal. That's what I was expecting to do with this trade and still expecting to do that with this trade as well. Hopefully it does play out the way we want to. USD JPY, well. I think I mentioned on the previous live stream that, yeah, we saw this huge bit of manipulation back in Japan, stepping in, trying to revalue their currency. And I think we were down here anyway. I was saying, like, we should just long this, just go long because of what happened back, back in the history when they did the same stunt. It just went back into the upside. So, in fact, I kind of missed out there. I should have taken my own advice and taken a long position back into the upside. Right now, we're seeing a bit of a double top here. We're seeing liquidity getting taken at the top here, which is quite interesting. We are seeing that breaker structure. Yeah, on the lower time frames. Oh, let me swap. I'll switch out to the 4-hour frame. It's a little bit easier to see. Okay, yeah. So what I would be generally waiting for now, I guess, is we're gonna want this candle to close within 2 hours. That's pretty aggressive. We could see price retracing back down to here before another reaction occurs. Or if we see this get broken, then we may want to start just looking for those shorting opportunities. I mean, we're already looking at those shorting opportunities on the DXY anyway, and we've just created this beautiful M shape here, signaling that it is struggling to break across this threshold. Indicating that, yeah, okay, there's a lot of downward pressure on the USD JPY at the moment, which could result in it pushing down even further. So back to the euro dollar, where are we at the moment? It looks like we're going to play into to what I said earlier. We might see the price just retracing back into this side. We're beginning to see a little bit of friction here. Hopefully, London session decides to push up above this this area of potential liquidity, which is where the week's open is. Hopefully, it does push it up to there. TP me out, and then I can then enter into that shorting opportunity. Heading over to XAUUSD. So gold. Let me just drop out to the hour frame here. I'm looking for those long positions. We are just aggressively moving into the upside. Sorry, guys, there's just so much information here. Let me try and remove it, but I think you can get the gist of what I was trying to do previously. Where, yes, we saw the price and then come back to this this region, this beautiful area that previously pushed a lot of the prices up. There was clearly a bit of liquidity resting below this low here, and we're seeing that reaction at the moment. What I would likely wait for now is just as a real confirmation. What I would likely wait for now is I'd wait for the price to retrace back into here. And then if we see the price again reversing into the upside, breaking that structure, that gives me the confidence to know that I'm ready to enter into those long positions on XAUUSD. Let me just remove some of this stuff here because it's getting a little bit messy. That's what I'll be looking at this point in time, right? Because we are looking for those long opportunities. If we zoom out, we can see we've been just breaking structure, producing much higher highs and higher lows. We are now trending upward. And as I mentioned on the previous live streaming session, we have entered into that weekly demand zone. And as we know, when the price re-enters into these very strong areas, these higher time frame areas of demand, we begin seeing quite aggressive reactions. And we are seeing that reaction at the moment. So I'm hoping that this is where we're going to see that reversal, that trend reversal into the upside. So looking for those long positions, those long opportunities on XAUUSD at the moment. We can drop back down into the 15-minute. I wouldn't enter into a position at this point in time, though. I would be waiting to see what the price does when it re-enters into this region here, which is what, the 4100 region. If it does come down here and then we see that break into the upside, remember I mostly enter on the higher time frames, except for the euro dollar today. Then I would wait to see whether or not that gets broken. Then I'd enter into the long position, trying to target some of these previous highs up here. So I am bullish on XAUUSD at the moment. Let's just return over to the euro dollar. Let's see. Oh, it absolutely plummeted. What a shame. As I said before, what I would likely want to see is what happens when the price enters here. Hopefully this is where it rebounds and then it hits my TP. If it continues into the downside, as I said, guys, I already brought my stop to break even anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter. Just a bit of a shame, really, because if I TP on this trade, then I pass that prop firm account, another prop firm account to add to my little collection. But yeah, so we're seeing that push down. I think London session is really pushing the euro dollar down a little bit here. I don't think there's any specific news coming out today except for the Federal Reserve. I think they're having their meeting minutes. FOMC is coming out later, but aside from that, there's no economic fundamental data that should be pushing this up. But what I did mention to you guys earlier is, yeah, we are looking for long positions on the higher time frames, but on the lower time frames, we are now producing lower highs and lower lows. So I'm literally just trading the pullbacks at the moment for this. Where we might end up if this fails and it continues down, then we're going to end up around this area here. This is where we're going to see the next reaction in the market if we continue into the downside on the euro dollar. So just keep that in mind. Head back to GBP USD, should be pushing down now as well. Yep. So what I was expecting to do, let me move this away. I'm not in this actual trade. I'm just waiting for, what I'm waiting for is the price to come back for that retest. Here we go. I want it to come back for here. I want the price to come back here, and then I want it to do something like this. If it breaks that structure, if it breaks that market structure, then enter. This is the trade I would do. That's what I'm waiting for, targeting these previous highs up here. So that's what I'm waiting to do at this point in time. Let's just see. Let's hope that the price does come down. Okay, kind of not hope, because then the euro dollar has to come down, but you know, it's okay. Hopefully the price will come down into this potential demand zone on the hourly, and hopefully we then see a reaction within that zone. And I guess you could go down into the 5 or the 15-minute frames and try and find a similar break of structure to try and enter in quicker. But if we wait for the hour to break this previous high, that is a really strong piece of confirmation, and we wouldn't need to worry so much that the price is likely going to continue upward, right? So that's what I'll be waiting for at the moment. If we fail and we break, hold on, if this fails and we break, then I'm gonna have to look for another entry point here. Don't really want to short the GBP because we have come up quite aggressively. You can see that we've just been breaking a structure. The trend has clearly changed into the upside. It touched into this giant green box. You can see this huge green box. This is our weekly demand. And as we know, weekly demand zones are very powerful areas of potential reversal. I'll zoom out to the week because I know that this may look a bit confusing. because GBP USD was one of my main pairs that I was trading, so there's going to be a lot of information when I zoom out, but you can ignore most of this information, not to worry. What I'm trying to show you guys is that we are technically trending up on the GBP USD. So we are looking for those long positions. We know this because we're trading above the 200 EMA, so above the exponential moving average. We are producing higher lows on the weekly time frame. Okay, so on the higher time frame, we are bullish. And what we can also see is that when price had originally been within this region before, it pushed up quite aggressively and it broke market structure. I think I deleted these a few times. It broke market structure quite aggressively. Okay. And then we saw the price come back down to this weekly demand zone. And again, there was a really sharp reaction to the price when it re-entered this area, pushing the price up again. And now we've actually come down. I'm sorry, guys, there's so much information here. I understand. But now we see the prices come down again. And so what do we expect to happen? That reaction to occur, the push back up. Okay, so that's the reason why I don't I don't particularly want to short the GBP at this point in time. Also, on the 4-hour frame, we have identified this as an area of potential supply. We have seen that the price has rebounded and pushed itself up back to this area of potential supply, and now we're seeing that reaction from that supply, right? So if I was going to short, I should have shorted when we entered into this potential area of supply, and I don't think I was looking at the charts at that time. I wasn't particularly looking for that trading setup, right? It would have been a nice trading setup, 4-hour frame. That pullback looked wonderful. And now we've seen that pullback, so now it's come back down, back into this blue box. You guys can see this blue box. I'm just doing the outline in yellow here. We can see it's come back down into this blue box, and now I'm expecting it to continue upward. Okay, so that's why we're looking for those long positions. Okay, especially on the higher time frames. The lower time frames, yeah, we're likely going to see quite a bit of resistance. If we drop down to the 15-minute frame. Yes, so on the 15-minute frame, yeah, so this is why I'm saying I'm waiting for the price to come back to this area, and then once it pushes up, hopefully it will continue to push up on the low. I'm on the 15-minute frame, remember. Once it breaks here with a full body break, then I'm going to enter, okay? Because then I'm going to enter into that long position, targeting these highs, maybe even go for a 1 to 3. Oh, that was supposed to be a 1 to 2. 1 to 2.5 nen risk to reward ratio on that trade. Okay, so that's what I'll be waiting for the GBP USD. Euro dollar, no, has it come down? It has. It has come down. How painful. So I was hoping I would actually TP on the euro dollar for this trade. I've kept my stop loss, but I've actually brought my trade to break even already. But I've kept the stop loss just in case I do get the break even, then I can go back later and take a look at, okay, if I kept my stop loss where it was, would I have still been stopped out? Yeah, it's a shame with this because if I TP, I'd pass my next prop account on this trade. It's okay if it break evens, it's, I'll just have to find another setup later on down the road. But what I'm waiting for at the moment is the price to come back down to this potential area here. So that's why I wouldn't exit this position right now, even though this does look quite aggressive. Hopefully it doesn't just continue going down and stop me out. That would kind of suck, but unfortunately that's trading, guys. Yeah, so I'm waiting for it to just come back down to here, retest this level. I'm expecting once it does retest this level, it will then begin to climb up, and then I'll TP. So I'm just waiting for that at the moment. So it does look a bit frustrating, admittedly, but unfortunately that's what trading is all about, guys. USD JPY, I've just covered this already, but yeah, I'd be looking for those shorting opportunities. Oh, why is this on the 15-minute? I'll be looking for those lower time frame shorting opportunities. We've seen that it's come up, it's created a double top, it's failing to break through this area. I wouldn't, however, if I was going to short on the lower frames, I wouldn't go beyond this region. Okay, so if I'm shorting, if I'm shorting, let's imagine I'm doing something like this. I'm on the 4-hour frame, by the way, guys. I'll be doing something like this, right? I'll just drop down to the 15-minute, and it just looks a bit easier. Yeah, I'd probably do something like that. If I was shorting on the lower frames, I wouldn't go beyond this area, this region here. I'd be a bit afraid of that region. Tell you what we could do. We could look at the volume profile as well, and I like to do volume profile analysis because it just tells us where. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So I would be really afraid to go beyond there. So what this is telling us at the moment is this is the point of actual control, or the line of control, whatever it's called, and it will. I would TP here because I know if it goes beyond that, we're gonna see a lot of people stepping in. They know that's a very key level. Okay, so I'm just saying, guys, if you are looking for those lower time frame shorting opportunities, that's kind of the setup I'd be looking at doing. I'm not touching USD JPY. I should have done. I'm not touching it because of this. You know, we knew this was going to happen. We knew the Bank of Japan was going to step in and completely manipulate the currency or sell off their USD, US reserves or whatnot. And I remember on that previous live stream, I think this is where we were last week, and just saying, yeah, it just makes sense to go long. I should have listened to my own advice. I really should have, and just gone long because we know historically when the Bank of Japan does these types of things, where are we? We've got some manipulation there. There we go. This was the big one. This was the big one that they did back in April. Just this massive manipulation, and then look, it all just returns back, creating higher highs. So yeah, manipulation happened, going long again. But then again, I just it's a very illogical amount of trading there. It's just based on what you expect to see after this manipulation. Anyway, guys, on the lower frames, yeah, I'll be looking for something like that. Of course, it's going to start going up because it's going to be pushing my euro dollar back into the downside. So that's frustrating. I haven't looked at AUD NZD, and I assume it's on its way down quite aggressively because I think NZD. Oh, okay, wow, yeah, it's really down. I believe that they just announced that the interest rates were going to increase, or cash interest rates or something like that were going to increase in New Zealand. I don't follow New Zealand monetary policy or fiscal policy very closely. So it's the monetary policy very closely, but I did come across New Zealand had announced that they were going to increase those interest rates, and that's what we're seeing at the moment, right? That boom, that's what's happening there. So I had quite a lot of luck last week and the week before that trading AUD NZD, but I've not really done much of an analysis on it this week. I've been focused more on the DXY because we're starting to go back to a normal technical analysis or technical patterns with the DXY, which is pretty good. I'll return to the DXY now. We can take a look. Beautiful market structure shift back into the downside, pushing everything down. What I'm hoping not to happen, although we are breaking structures here, we are seeing, we are breaking market structures here back into the upside, which is a little bit annoying because, like I said, that's going to push all our major currency pairs down. If DXY goes up, everything else goes down. What I'm expecting at the moment is that this becomes a very hard ceiling for it to pass. Okay, so I'm expecting this to be a very hard ceiling, an area of resistance. I love how it hit the months open so perfectly. That's beautiful, that. So what could happen is if DXY now begins that continuation into the downside. So if it continues going down, we're going to get a little bit of bumpiness along the way, of course. And then we finally cross this area with a full body break. We then know that the price is likely going to just absolutely fall down to this region here. Okay. And based on that analysis, we can then apply it to all of our major currency pairs. So as I said, if I get stopped out on the euro dollar, I wouldn't really mind so much because I'm actually waiting for this. This would be the big trade, you know. If we see DXY coming down and just breaking this previous low here. That would be absolutely beautiful. I'm a little bit concerned by this breaker structure, to be honest. I don't really like that it's broken structure. It shouldn't have gone this high. This is what I'm a bit concerned about. Yeah, it's kind of concerning, but we'll hopefully this is just a little bit of a liquidity grab before it moves down. Hopefully, that's what's happened there. Um, but yeah, I don't like that one bit. I don't like it's going back up either. So frustrating. Stay down. Um, let's go back to euro dollar. 0.08% change. That's not good. I think it was at 13, so we've come down. We've come down. Drop down to the 15-minute. Okay. Oh, I mean, it would have been nice to for the tip of this wick to have entered into that area. That would have made me feel a bit more confident. Also would have made me look pretty cool to get it semi-accurate, but the market is, well, the market isn't perfect. So hopefully that's the pullback we've just seen. And now we're TP, hopefully. But yeah, by the way, once it does go up, I'm expecting to see a reaction at this level. I'm expecting to see a bit of a reaction at that level, whereby I would likely then short whatever this down to here. I would do that kind of shorting. I'm playing a lot with the lower time frames, to be honest, guys. Quite enjoying myself. I've always found my swing trading to be okay, where I make the big bucks, right? But the lower time frame trading, like on the 15-minute entries, the going long and shorts, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy it. Although I don't make a lot of money from it. I think I do about 40% win rate on the lower time frame trading. I just like to do it sometimes. But the big trades, which as I just showed you on the DXY, those big trades, those ones where it's come up, it's hit that liquidity. Now we're aiming for, this down here, right? These are the big boy trades down here. They're good. That's where you make the most money, but it's not as exciting, really, is it? I know trading shouldn't be exciting, it should be boring, but I don't know. I like to trade a little 15-minute frames, and I guess especially when we're doing live streaming, it plays really nicely. All right, DXY, continue going down. That would be fantastic. Heading over to XAU, I was looking for those long positions, waiting for. Honestly, I wouldn't be entering anyway, but I would be looking for those long opportunities. This is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for XAU to come down a little bit more. Hopefully it's going to come down and then it's going to reverse up. If it breaks this high, then I would enter into a long. On the lower time frames, I'm not really. I mean, if we're playing lower time frame analysis, then fine. This is a beautiful breaker structure. What you might want to wait for is something like this, and then short it down to maybe here, down to this level. Tell you what, I can just mark this out. All right, let's imagine we entered into. Let's just wait. We'll just wait for the price to go. But I think you guys get the idea. On the lower frames, I'd wait for a little bit of a pullback, enter, get into wherever the day's open is. What's that? That's 4105, and then start to look for a long on the really low time frames. But if you're swing trading, then you'd want to wait for this to be broken before entering into a long-term long, I guess. On XAU, I did trade XAU quite a bit about two weeks ago. It's not one of my major ones. It's not one of my major financial instruments that I usually trade, but I did pretty well. I think I got stopped out on one of my trades, but mostly did pretty well on my longs. So I got the pullback accuracy pretty good on XAU. BTC, as you guys know, I don't trade at all. I was actually expecting BTC to fall to 55,000, but I have certainly been proven wrong here. Let's just zoom out to the 4 hour. So I was expecting BTC to continue falling down to originally it was supposed to be around the 55,000 mark. This being a hard support level around the 52,000 mark. So I was expecting that to happen. What we are seeing is that the price has come down. It has now pushed itself back up. I think it's struggling here. Like I'd be very confident. I would start looking for long position because I don't trade BTC USDT. I don't trade it, right? But I do the analysis for you guys. From my perspective, I would wait for a break of here. This would then tell me that, okay, BTC really does now have the potential momentum to begin pushing that or completely reversing the trend into the upside. I would be waiting for that to be broken. What I would imagine to occur is that it would struggle to break here. So what would happen is it will break this high. It will then struggle to break this high. It would likely come back down. I don't think it would then break this low, and then I would look for long positions. Okay, so that's how I would do my analysis. If I was looking to enter into a position on BTC into the upside, like into a long position, but until then, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it's completely reversing yet. I'm not convinced there yet. You know, we got to break a structure here into the downside. Yes, it is beautifully pushing up. Amazing. I'm on the 4 hour, by the way, guys. So on the lower time frames, you might have seen a really nice market structure shift and entered and capitalized on that. Wonderful. But I still think, you know, we're set to go down just a little bit more before BTC reverses into the upside. I keep saying it. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year we hit the $80,000 to $90,000 mark again on BTC USDT, right? I wouldn't be surprised. Crude oil, we're not going to analyze that, but it's nice to see that it's dropped. I guess we can just take a look. Crude oil absolutely dropping. That means a lot of people or investors are now more convinced than ever, I guess, that the conflict in the Middle East has died down relatively good enough. What we're seeing here, what that push is at the moment is I think there was a few attacks in the Strait about 1 or 2 days ago, and I'm assuming there are just some traders who think that the oil is just going to push up again. I don't think so. I think the conflict is largely dialed down, considering Congress passed a law where Trump can now no longer attack Iran. So yeah, in that circumstance, we then know that it's somewhat died down. SpaceX is down 6.8% from its peak of 230. I think it was 230. And it yesterday just joined the NDQ 100, NASDAQ 100. You know what I love about SpaceX at the moment is that you can just see this very clear area of support. So clear, beautiful area of support. And I think I mentioned it on previous live streams and daily market breakdowns where this area of support I think is largely driven by the institutional institutions who are holding SpaceX for long-term investment, right? So this is where I would usually purchase. What I was expecting to happen was NDQ, when it joined NASDAQ 100, I was expecting it to actually fall down to the 120 mark. I'm still expecting it to fall down to the 120 mark. Next month in August, SpaceX is going to release its first earnings report, and I think it's going to be brutal. I think it's going to be really bad, and I think that's going to prompt a lot of whoever's holding this to bring it down to that 120 mark, and then I'll start dollar cost averaging, hopefully back into the upside. That's my overall plan. But I mean, I'm not trading it. I'm just investing in it. Completely separate, two different things. All right, let's head back to Euro US dollar, back to our Forex pairs. Let me drop back down to the 15-minute. Oh, that's not fair. Oh, there we go. Okay, are we gonna TP? Let me check my MT trade. Oh, I TP'd already. Yeah, okay, great. There we go. All right, that trade done, that account done. That should be a passing trade as well. So I won't enter into any more positions personally, but yay, I'm glad that played out. What I'm now expecting, what I'm now expecting is that there's going to be a reaction within this region here. I mean, I like these week opens as well. Like when we can see that the where price opened within the week, within the month, within the year, the daily, weekly, yearly opens, they act quite nicely as potential areas where price likes to revisit, and I think that's what's happening here. So I think we're going to see a reaction now, and I think we're seeing the starting point of that reaction, where the price is going to come back down again. I would then need to kind of analyze where it's going to. Let me just remove all this. Let me just get. I need to. I'm sorry, guys. I need to keep the stop loss TP indication because I need to come back to it later to analyze it. So that's locked in. I'm glad I TP'd on that trade. Let's have a look here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of a reaction there. I think the only way for me to know where the reaction will go is going to be on the lower frames, unless the price really does want to break this high. If it does, that's incredible. That's really, really cool. Cool. So I think the next reaction should occur around this point here. Or at least this reaction now, we might see a slight pullback. So if I did something such as that, we might see a slight pullback, and I'll probably do like a 1 to 2 shorting opportunity on that. I'm not entering this trade, but I'm just giving you guys a bit of an example, because it does seem like there was potential liquidity resting above this area. If this is the hour candle, so if the hour candle does close with this very long wick, then we know that liquidity was likely taken and there's going to be a slight pullback into the downside. If not, then we may see a continuation up to this point where the reaction will occur. So the reaction may occur within this region here. Big region. It is in that region anyway. We might see it occur in that region. Okay. But anyway, that's what I was looking for anyway. If I was gonna enter into a shorting opportunity on the lower time frames, just need to kind of analyze where it may end up going. GBP must be up then. Let's see, where's British pound gone? Yeah, you see, well, that's frustrating, isn't it? It's a bit frustrating. It would have been nicer. It would have been nicer if it had entered here, reversed, pushed up, and then I could enter into that long position. At least that's how I'll play. We'll just wait and see. All right, I'm not going to enter into anything for a little while anyway. But yeah, that was always going to be your target on the lower frames. It's just there was just so much stuff happening there. Let me just get the volume profile up. Yeah, see, so this is what I'm expecting is, okay, there's not much going on here, and that would hopefully bring the price back down to here, and then boom, back up. We can see that within the volume profile, right? We just see a lot more people stepping in around this area than we do at this area where it is now. Okay. All right, so yep, I'm looking for those long positions. Remember, guys, right at the beginning of this live stream, we analyzed that on the higher time frames, we've entered into that weekly demand. So now we're just looking for those long positions, those big trades. But on the lower time frames, the market's not perfect. We're going to see a lot of pullbacks. We're going to see a lot of movement, and we can capitalize on that, right? And we can do that by using this analysis that I'm using. So look at the DXY, it should be down. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Nice. Hopefully it will just continue going down. We might see a reaction when it goes here, because usually there's a lot of retail trader orders here. So we could see a bit of a reaction there, and hopefully it will continue. Another bit of a reaction there. And then we see a nice full body candle break below that previous low that I mentioned before, which is going to indicate to us where the price is going to go. Whoa, almost reset the chart then. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. That makes pretty nice sense though. So we're going to see a reaction around there. And then if it breaks, we just know. We know the price is likely going to enter down to here. And that plays beautifully in our analysis across all of our major currency pairs. Because we'll see that sharp move from the weekly demand zones from our major currency pairs, a sharp move upward, right? Because the prices trace back into that weekly demand, and usually we'll see a really nice reaction where within demand we get a lot of buying pressure to push everything back up. And so on the DXY, if it breaks and continues breaking down, that's going to push up all of our major currency pairs. So that's good. That's good. Hopefully that plays out. As I say, I'm not in any active trades at the moment. I'm not in any active trades at the moment, so I can't really show you guys any stuff like that. Just doing general technical analysis. I quite like this. This is nice on the 15-minute frame. This is quite nice. You know, it came down, it came up, it failed to break. It pushed down, broke market structure. This is a continuation signal for me. So I'm pretty confident that it will likely end up there, end up where we want it to go, which would be just before this point here. Pretty confident that it will do something like that on USD JPY. Although it might get stopped out there, but I still think the price will eventually go there. I don't know. You guys can screenshot and take a look later if the live stream after the live stream and see if this one actually does play out. But I quite like that pattern. Usually this pattern works much better on the 4-hour frame. So I'm on the 15-minute frame. You know, pretty much the same thing in a way. I just don't know how deep it will go on a lower time frame. Yeah, I won't go into any of these. You know, yeah, silver I think's been having a pretty rough time. I think silver's been on its way down. We obviously don't. Obviously don't trade silver. I mean, it's a fantastic commodity. I think it had a really nice run over the last couple of weeks, but I think it's I think it's fallen quite aggressively. Yeah, it has. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if there are any silver traders out there, but yeah, massive push into the down. I don't analyze silver at all. I just saw it on my watch list, so I thought let's go and take a look. I do look at the bonds, the bond yields. I haven't looked at them so closely recently, but they are really good indicators on where the American economy is going. And so I sometimes use these to also kind of align my technical analysis with the DXY. And if it aligns nicely with the DXY, then I know how to enter into my trades on all of my major currency pairs, right? So just as much information as possible, guys, helps us all the time. Yeah, DXY is due a reversal. I mean, just look at all of this. Just due a nice reversal. Just go down, DXY. Be good for us all. Gosh, euro really pushed up 0.14%. That's quite a push up. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, so we're seeing that reaction now. Hopefully So if you had entered into that short, you should be in profit at the moment. But that's just high risk. I'm just expecting the pullback for this to return to this region here, or actually return to this box down here before pushing up again. And remember, we are looking for those long opportunities because again, we've entered into that weekly demand zone. So you're going to be very mindful of that. And considering we've got what, another 19 minutes until the next candle, anything can really happen there, right? So it's really exciting watching the charts. Always very exciting to take a look at them. I don't know what if you guys have any strategies that you guys are currently using. Happy to take a look at them. I know I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys online have been seeing a lot of this kind of stuff where you have your Asian session, and then you have your London session, right? And they all say this. So all this manipulation, and then this distribution, right? And this is the New York session. So in the future, we will, because I'm only trading the London session, and usually the London session I like it, even though people say it's the manipulation session. I like it because I like to trade the pullbacks. And pullbacks essentially are the manipulation, right? Pushing into one area so that it can continue somewhere else. New York session is the distribution session, as a lot of people say. So we will eventually have some of our team doing the live trading sessions for the New York Opens. And New York Opens are a lot of fun as well. So much volume entering into the markets. I think it's about 1:30 in the afternoon in the UK when that session starts. Not 1:30, 1 or 2 p.m. So we will have start doing some of those sessions in the future. Balance of trade coming out, forecast to be 14.8. That comes out on tomorrow, Thursday. There's not really any exciting economic data coming out this week, and I like that. I like quiet weeks. Quiet weeks are good because it just follows nicely with our technicals. And when you're prop trading, if you're trading an account and economic news is announced and you get UTP, it can be invalid because prop trading doesn't really allow news trading. So you gotta be careful with that. That's why I don't like it. I don't really like big economic weeks because it just invalidates my trade. Even if technically it was going to be correct anyway, but the fundamentals push you out. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, and it just invalidates that trade, that you've been waiting so long for. I quite like the look of this candle. It's looking pretty good. Let's drop down to the 15-minute frame. Have a little bit of a close-up of the candle. Yeah, okay. Needs a little bit more push down. I think the next 15-minute candle is going to form. That should then define if the price is actually going to have this pullback and continue pushing down a little bit. Oh. Two, one. All right, next candle. That was a lot less dramatic than I thought it would be. Yeah. Okay, starting to push down a little bit. Yeah, don't really know what else to say. That's all I'd be waiting for, just to see if that shorting opportunity plays out. And then if it does, If it does, I'll start looking for the long position. Again, I'd re-enter into a long. Let's have a look at gold. Well, the price had re-entered into this zone. You can see across the line here. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it crosses here and closes above with a full body break. If it does, then I'll be feeling pretty confident about entering into a position. I would like it to have been a little bit more of a deeper pullback before entering into a position. But yeah, I'll just have to wait for what the next hour candle says. I am very sorry, guys. The internet oddly just cut out. Very, very strange. Well, unfortunately, I guess luckily that was toward the end of the live streaming session, and it's always very frustrating if there is a spike in the internet connectivity, which is quite frustrating there. So sorry about that, guys. Really, really sorry about that. But as I said, luckily this is more toward the end of the live trading session anyway. So what I'll do is I'll just start to wrap it up just in case we have another internet spike. I think we have some of the team playing around with upgrading the internet today. So really big apologies for that. As I said, I really hope you enjoyed these live trading sessions, and it's a fantastic opportunity for you guys to have a discussion with myself, the director of the AIFO Academy. If you have any questions or concerns about AIFO, the prop trading space, the industry, about your own strategy, you're always more than welcome to come to these live trading sessions and have a chat with me, or you can just drop your questions in our Discord channels and our social media channels, okay? But what I will do is I'll wrap it up there just because the internet seems to be, a little bit uneasy. However, we have come to the end of this session anyway. Just to quickly wrap up, I am waiting for that candle to close. If the hour candle does close on the euro dollar with that price action, then yes, we're likely going to pull back. We're likely going to come back down to this box here where I would then look to enter into a long position. So if you guys are looking to follow a very similar part of my suggestion, then you're certainly welcome to do so. And on XAUUSD, I'm just waiting for that candle to close just above this high. So we need to see that structure break in order to give me the confirmation or the confidence to enter into a long position as well on XAUUSD. So like I said, guys, that's on our side. Really sorry that the live stream got disconnected there for a couple of minutes, but I will leave it there for now, guys. And again, in the future, you're more than welcome to come here, ask any questions, like I said, about AIFO, about the prop trading space, whether or not you guys have any issues with your trading strategies and you want to just have a discussion about it, you're more than welcome to come to these live trading sessions, have that chat with me, or just drop them in our Discord channel. But anyway, guys, I will leave the live trading session there for now. I really hope that this was useful and you get a little bit of an insight or a glimpse into my trading strategy and how I usually trade. Really awesome that I TP'd today and I passed that prop firm account based on that trade. So I'm pretty thrilled about that. And I'll start working on my next, getting my next funded account as well. So hopefully you guys can also get your funded accounts in the future too. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future sessions. We won't be having a live streaming session next week or the following Wednesday, but after that, I will be back. And like I said before, hopefully sometime toward the end of this year, we'll start having other academy educators come in and doing the New York session with you guys. So anyway, thank you again, and good luck trading.